Peterborough United are no strangers to League One. They've spent more seasons in the third tier of English football than at any other level, including 8 of the last 9, and they're back again after being relegated from the Championship alongside the Rams last season. Derby didn't enjoy their last trip to Peterborough's Western Home Stadium, or London Road to use its traditional name. A late fight back from the hosts improved their record against Derby to played 7, won 4, lost 2. DJ Campbell scored twice the last time the Rams won there, back in January 2010. Though it's Derby who have the advantage in the overall head-to-head, with 8 wins from 15 games against Posh. Last season's game at London Road was the first between the sides in 8 years. Expect another sold-out away end when the teams renew hostilities this term, though don't expect the record attendance figure to ever be touched. That was set back in 1965 for an FA Cup tie with Swansea Town, when over 30,000 squeezed in. The modern-day record is a little more modest, coming against Leicester in 2009.
Hello and welcome to the preview show from RamsTV. Today we're bringing you the game of the weekend in the EFL. Peterborough United against Derby County could have big implications for the League One playoff race. Let's start the build-up by taking a look at the table. Sheffield Wednesday saw their 23-game unbeaten run ended by Barnsley in the week, which means Plymouth have gone back to the top of the standings. The top 4 have managed to separate themselves from the rest now. Derby start the day 5th, 4 points ahead of Peterborough, and Wycombe, who are just outside the playoffs as well. Portsmouth are within 7 points of the top 6 now too, and all those teams have a game in hand on Bolton. Derby still have to travel to bottom of the table Forest Green before the end of the season. They are 13 points from safety now. Things are looking bleak for Cambridge as well, but Morecambe and Accrington are both within 1 result of getting out of the relegation zone. But for today, we are only concerned with the race for the playoffs. And it's a game you can watch on RamsTV worldwide, including in the UK. Get your Game Pass for Peterborough against Derby now at dcfc.co.uk. We'll continue our build-up to today's game in just a moment. But last weekend marked a significant milestone for one long-standing Derby servant. Craig Forsyth became just the 30th player to play 300 games for the club. Terrific achievement for him. We spoke to him this week to reflect on his time with the Rams, his big moments with the club, and those times when maybe he thought things might come to an end.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's been a few occasions that I've talked about it, and there's been things that have came up, and possibly maybe due to other reasons have not happened. But yeah, there's of course in that length of time, there's going to be times when you doubt whether you can get back in sometimes after these injuries, or whether a fresh start might be good for you. But as I say, the timing wasn't right for things, and I'm glad I have stayed.
You've just turned 34. I know you've got a teammate who's 38. I know there are some in the division who are even older than that. So I'm not saying the end is in sight, but have you thought about the next couple of years and how long you might play for and want to play for?
I think I want to play as long as I can. I think speaking to a few people who have retired, who I did play with, they all say the same thing, that they wish they could have just kept playing that little bit longer. So that is my sole focus just now, is to make sure I look after myself and to give myself every chance of playing for as long as I can.
Finally, you've just become the 30th Derby player to make 300 appearances for the club, and there are some legendary names up there with you. I mean, you're just behind John O'Hare, fellow countryman, Alan Hinton, just to name a couple. How does it feel to be in such a select group and among that sort of company?
it's obviously a massive pride to be up there with those names for what they achieved and what they did for this club. But the one thing that's missing from myself is a promotion and winning something with this club. So that is one thing that I would love to do before I leave.
Well, Derby still have a bit of work to do if they're to get Fozzy that promotion this season. The full interview is available for you to watch it now, by the way. You can do that at dcfc.co.uk. Well, Craig Forsyth has been a constant in the Derby team since Max Bird broke in a couple of years ago. Now vice-captain, of course, he returned to the starting lineup for the defeat to Fleetwood last weekend.
Obviously, it was good to be back on the pitch, but also not good to be back on the pitch in a way. With how we played and the performance we put on was unacceptable. We knew that it was going to be a tough game, but the way we started the game and how the game went wasn't to our standards, nowhere near our standards, in fact. So, we had a long, chat about it as a team and as a squad on Monday, debriefed it, and then put it to one side. And training Tuesday was very good, very tough. Lads were at it, got a bit of our mojo back. We felt like so. That's important leading into the weekend. How does that debrief on a Monday work? Is it the coaches giving you messages, or is it more of a sort of a conversation? We're all in it together. Everyone at the club, wants the same ambition and goal at the end of the season. So, the manager's big on all of us talking together as a group. We have a debate about things and stuff. It's not just them telling us what went wrong, or we can say we felt this, we felt that, and it's more of a conversation, like you say. But look, we're getting ready to put it right. We want a big reaction at the weekend. We know it's a big game, like every game is now in the running. So, look, we're looking forward to it. Training's been back to the standard that it's been previously. And like I say, we're feeling good, and we've sort of put it to one side, hopefully, and we can move on from that. How much do you look back to particularly that fantastic run that you went on, the long unbeaten run, the winning run, and think about the things that you did there? Are you trying to get back to that sort of feeling? Yeah, definitely. We had a video today on how good we are in possession in that run, during that run, and then on Tuesday we had a video showing us how good of a team we are out of possession. And when we're at them standards and everyone's on it, then we feel like we're one of the best teams in the league, and the manager says that a lot. On our day we can beat anyone, and we've got to get back to one, believing that, two, everyone sticking together and sort of coming through it. Like, you're going to have tough times in the season. It's not all going to be plain sailing. So we had a look at them videos, and we tried to put it onto the pitch and get a bit of a spark back in the team. It's not, we're not crisis meeting about it. It was a conversation, and one that needed to be had. But like you say, we've watched them videos. We know what we need to get back to doing. On you've been out injured before, but you missed 6-8 games recently, and I think it's the first time you've had an extended spell out since you've been vice captain and had more of a standing in the team. Was that different at all, still having those sort of responsibilities but not being out there on the pitch? Yeah, first and foremost, I had to get my head around being injured. I hadn't had a serious injury like that since I was probably about 15. So I had to get my head around that. I had to sort of mindset out, and I was so focused in the rehab, doing as much as I could every day. And you were back ahead of schedule, weren't you? Yeah, week or two back ahead. Physios were brilliant with me, and they were probably a bit fed up with me towards the end, me trying to do more stuff and whatever, and there was, like I say, there was ups and downs on the way. But yeah, I sat with Steers, with the analysis guys at the home games, saw it from a different view. Tried to pick out things that I could maybe put back into my game when go back out on the pitch. It was different. I had probably a bit more, going into the change room saying, oh, this, and maybe if I wasn't in the vice captain role or something like that, I wouldn't have done that. But I think it's more about me developing as a person as a leader, whether I was vice captain or not, I would have still come in and said them sort of things. Whether it's the young lads, whether it's the senior lads, and just from what I see from a different point of view, that may help them on the pitch.
Derby vice-captain Max Bird there. More from the Derby camp in a moment or two. Well, Derby travel to Peterborough this afternoon, who have got themselves back in the League One playoff race this season, thanks in part to a mid-season change of manager. Darren Ferguson returned to the club in January for a fourth spell with the club. He's got them within 4 points of the top six.
Yeah, it's another game as far as I see it, in terms of, we've got 9 games left. You get 3 points against Derby, you get 3 points against Oxford. So I think for me, in the next 9 games, there's going to be twists and turns throughout that period of time and the area that the league we're in terms of there'll be drop points. So obviously for me, it's a game we can look forward to, because we've put ourselves in a position where we can now sort of reduce the gap to 1. Which is the closest we'll have been for a hell of a long time. So that's the motivation, but not to get carried away with the game in terms of playing just play our normal game and keep composed and keep calm and remember that it's another 3 points. And coming out of the game, if we win, it's 1 point. If we draw, it's still 4. It'd be 3 at Bolton. So obviously, the result, I think, is not going to have. It's not going to be on end all for us. Let's put it that way. Even if we lost the game, but obviously the aim is to win. We can't afford too many more slip-ups, and we've got to try and take advantage of the fact that we are playing a team directly above us, and try and get the 3 points.
As you say, 4 points between yourselves and Derby and Bolton. You can edge closer to Derby this weekend. What do you expect the visitors to bring to London Road?
Well, they've got a very experienced team, very experienced, with quality in it, as you would expect from Derby at this level. Experienced manager who's done very well at this level in terms of promotions. What do I expect of them? I expect a reaction from Paul's team. I've no doubt about that's what will happen from their previous game where they lost obviously at home to Fleetwood, and it'll be a very tough game for us. The things we've spoke about to the players, the things we've worked on, we'll have to do very well, but if we do it very well, then we'll cause them problems. But we expect a really tough game against Derby, as you would expect any time of the season, regardless of what the last result was or anything, given the quality they've got in their team. But we have also got quality in our team, so I think there's key elements of the game, clearly, that I've spoken to the players about. We have to do well, and hopefully we can do that on the day.
Peterborough manager Darren Ferguson there. Well, let's hear from the Derby boss now. His side have a clean bill of health going into the weekend, but they are without Jason Knight, who's away on international duty with the Republic of Ireland. Another dilemma for Paul Warne to deal with.
No, Knight, he's gone on his international call-up. I was going to say something else then, but international call-up, which is great for him. And everyone else is fine. Obviously, we had a tough meeting on Monday, really. Not a tough meeting, but, this is what I see, and I think the lads are expecting maybe more. But obviously, it goes without saying that our performance at the weekend was, pretty deplorable. It wasn't acceptable, and I can accept losing football matches. I've always said that, and you have to move on. But our level of performance was poor. That was very disappointing. So we'd tried to address that on Monday, but the good thing is there's always the next game. So Tuesday it was all about, this is you at your best. We showed them loads of clips of how good they were and how we want them to see them again on Saturday. So we'd built them up, trained really hard on Tuesday. So the lads are in a really good place, I think, actually, surprisingly. And then because that's the joy of sport, you've always got the next game, always. And I spoke to you earlier that, Peterborough lost at home to Cheltenham 3-0, and then that's like a calamity for them because you don't want to be losing home games, especially to possibly teams, further down. And then they went and won 2 away games on the spin. So you have to feel hurt with the performance. The performance killed me at the weekend, but you just have to move on really quick. You've got 8-9 games, potentially more to to put it right and to be where you want to be. And it's a good opportunity for, all the lads, everybody here, everyone who supports, to get behind the lads and have a right good push.
We talked about reaction and getting a reaction and seeing a reaction probably more than you would have liked in recent weeks. But it sounds as though so far this week you have seen the reaction you wanted from the guys. Yeah,
I have. And in fairness, last week when I think I got asked the question, or the week before, similarly, and they're saying, have you seen a reaction? And I hadn't. I can openly admit I hadn't seen a reaction. I didn't. There wasn't the opportunity possibly in training. Whereas this week, with the Tuesday session especially, we've done loads of out of possession stuff, loads of pressing stuff, loads of hard work stuff, all the stuff, in my opinion, that helps you win football matches, the uglier stuff really. So the lads were really good at that Tuesday, and some lads really shone in that. So it makes... hence why when we pick the team, sometimes the team sheet comes out, I presume, all fans have their favourite players, I get that. But they'll be like, oh my God, why's he played? Well, I can't tell you in this meeting what my team's going to be, but, when you ask me after the game Saturday, I can explain, look, this lad was unbelievable Tuesday, Thursday, hopefully the same players are good today. These trained the best, these got the message in the best, so that's why they play. And that's why, we have the joy of working with them every day to allow us to pick the best team for the opposition. We've watched them last 4 games, and we like to think we know what they're going to do, although football is very random, but we have to try and pick the team. And the way the lads have trained this week, there's going to be some difficult decisions to make.
What's the assessment of Peterborough then? They seem to be a side that are at their best when they sort of play the sort of football I think you like, which is trying to score goals and trying to win games.
Yeah, they're good. I love Fergie, and I played against him loads of times. Really good footballing bloke, and like one of my best friends, Dale Tong's on their coaching staff as well, who's a really good coach as well. So I know how they want to play. And I went and watched them play against Burton the other night, and I just could hear Fergie saying all the time about play forward. And like they're footballers, they can play, but they have a real cutting edge to them. They do play a little bit that I like, a little bit basketball. It is a bit end to end at times. They are prepared to try and outscore teams, and that's how I like to see football being played. So it could go, one of many ways on Saturday, but I don't think it will be from a lack of effort of either team trying to win it. I don't think, Peterborough and Norwell are also a team that think, if we can just stay in it for 70 minutes and then the last 20 minutes go for it. Like from the outset, both teams will be trying to score, and for a neutral, it should be a great game. We'll have to wait and see.
That's Paul Warne. Here are the 7 matches that are going ahead in League One this weekend. Important game at the Valley, where Wickham, the other side in the playoff hunt, visit Charlton. Portsmouth host Port Vale as well. And on Sunday, Sheffield Wednesday can go back to the top of the table. They're away to Forest Green. And later on RamsTV, it's Peterborough United against Derby County. Don't forget to get your match pass now at dcfc.co.uk. It's a game you can watch with RamsTV worldwide, including if you're right here in the UK. Matchday Live will be with you from 2:30. Michael Weedock and Sean Barker in the chair. They'll see you then. Goodbye.
Goalkeeper tries! And he didn't get there! And Derby have their equaliser! Now Dobbin. Get past Fuchs. Dobbin's cross. A goal!